Welcome back, everyone. Another episode of the GPP, Gifted Performance Podcast, giving you knowledge and practical takeaways to improve your own general physical preparedness. The last one was a hit. The people loved it. They wanted to hear us talk more about bodybuilding. So Anthony, I said, who's the best bodybuilder that we know? And Anthony said, well, it's you, Ryan. And I said, okay, well, you can't choose me. Who's the second best bodybuilder that you know? And he said, oh, it's got to be Adam O'Kelly. So we've got Adam on the show today. Adam, welcome. First timer. Introduce yourself to the people.
Certainly a pleasure to be here. My name is Adam, as Ryan told y'all, but essentially I've been competing as a bodybuilder solely with Ryan. He's been my only coach throughout my entire journey. I started working with him in 2020 for my first show. We started that prep pretty much right away as soon as I started working with him, and then it's just been a journey ever since. And here I am today, 4 years later, about, what was I say, like 30 pounds bigger, a lot more experience under my belt, and ready to share it all with everybody. But
Anthony, would you agree that the only coach you'll ever need is me?
Yeah, I could agree with that.
You would? Oh man, I was expecting you
I can agree with that.
You can. You won't, but you can.
I won't, but I can.
Anthony is also here. Welcome back, Anthony. Good to have you.
What's up, guys?
I came in and I don't know if anyone else can see this. I don't think Jake can edit it in, but I did name myself in Riverside, which is what we're using to record. I named myself Sexy Boy, but I really think Anthony is the sexy boy of the team.
The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, so.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about this last competition season for Adam. That was kind of where we started last episode with Anthony. While Adam didn't have the same rocky road to the show or to the stage, he didn't blow out his knee trying to be a professional skateboarder or anything like that. Adam definitely did have some highs and some lows that come with, prepping for a bodybuilding show as a whole. Adam, when you reflect on your prep, while it's still relatively fresh on your mind, what were some of those moments? What were some of the highest highs? And of course, some of the lowest lows that came with what year are we, 2024? 2024 prep season.
yeah, so I would say most of my highs and lows really just came with like my employment situation. I definitely have been through quite a rocky road for that, I would say. And it really started at like the very beginning of the year when I had been working as like a trainer, pretty much like part-time, mostly throughout the off season. And it got to the point where, people with, stuff going on, holiday season, everybody was just kind of dropping like flies, and I was looking for another job. So I ended up finding another job at like a stretching clinic, and I became their general manager pretty quickly because I was in training for that job just to be like another trainer essentially. And then the girl who was going to be the manager of that location just dropped out of the training halfway through, and they basically offered me the job right there, which should have been the first like red flag for that place, was that they first of all offered me the original job off of the first interview from the phone. And I was just desperate for a job, so I took it. And then they offered me the manager job basically right then and there when that girl dropped out of the training. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. So I ended up started to work there full time, and I would come to the gym afterwards to train my clients and just like finish out their sessions. I worked there for about 2 months as the manager, and they basically just said that my performance was not up to what they were expecting. And they basically just demoted me back down to what I had originally applied for, just a trainer. And it wasn't as good as I thought it was, because the place, when I first started working there, it was a shithole, I'll be honest. It was basically like their monthly draft had gotten down. They dropped by like a third in like a 6-month time frame. And I was tasked with like bringing it back to what it was. And there was just like no leads coming in, nobody for me to contact. And it was just not fun, essentially. That's why my performance was so shitty there. But essentially I got dropped down to a trainer, and then I had another job opportunity open up at the place that I was training at to be their fitness director or their personal training manager. And that happened like literally 2 weeks out. I got offered that job. And so I went and I left the stretching place, started working at the gym full time. And I started that 2 weeks out from St. Pete, and I've just been doing that ever since. So very, very up and down with the job situation. But I was thankfully able to, get everything pieced together before before showtime, and I was able to, make enough money to be able to afford everything, especially going to USA's right after having to fly out to California. Definitely knew that I needed to get my finances in check for that. So I was like stressing out the entire time that I had been demoted because I was just eating my savings and having to, hopefully figure something out before the show so I'd be able to pay for it. And luckily everything worked out in my favor. So that was definitely the stressful, rocky situation of prep. But in the meantime, while everything and that was going on, like the only thing that really kept me on board and okay mentally was definitely the preparation. And that was something that Anthony and you talked about in your original podcast. I actually watched the whole thing, just talking about how those, how prep can basically keep you in that mentality of, okay, I just need to get shit done, just need to work harder, just need to get to where I need to be. And I would say that it was like the one constant that was going on in my life that I was just so dedicated to, that all that shit outside just did not affect me at all. I was basically just like, all right, well, let's just move on to the next thing. Let's move on to the next day, just get our meals in, get our training in. As long as that's going well, then my life is going well. And I would say that mentality definitely paid off in the end.
Follow me along a mental journey here. Ready? So the stretch place isn't what you think it is. The money isn't what you think it is. It's not a good position whatsoever. You're in the middle of prep, so you're probably going to the grocery store a lot. You go through the produce section. You see a grapefruit. Did you ever at any point think of doing things to certain fruit items or items?
Oh my God. No.
Bolster your monthly revenue? No?
No, unfortunately, the Kai Green did not pass my mind. I did not think about pulling one of those. Thankfully, I didn't have to pull one of those.
I'm going to pull up the post because it's something in my talking points that I wanted to talk about anyway. But there was a post about Chris Bumstead retiring, and someone on the post is like, oh, I'm one of the most influential bodybuilders of all time, or like the most influential bodybuilder of all time. For the sake of this, it doesn't matter how you feel about that statement. One of the comments below is, I don't know about that. Like, I think Kai Green might have been more influential. The comment below that, isn't that the guy that fucked a fruit? So that's just been on my mind recently. But I think, coming back to earth here, I think what you're experiencing, what you're talking about, is a pretty common struggle with prep as a whole. It is a financial undertaking that many people simply just don't understand when they start a prep. I'll just diet. I'll go to the gym. I'll go do my cardio. How expensive can it actually be? Maybe, Anthony, you can speak to kind of some of the expenses that go into bodybuilding for maybe people who are watching this thinking about doing a contest prep, or they're currently in a contest prep and they don't really know what's to come.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm glad to hear that, like Adam kind of has the same mentality as I did when it came to like not stopping prep. We talked about it in the last podcast too. Like when there's a will, there's a way. And Adam found that way, and he just like kept going and didn't make excuses. Yeah, finances were rough, and I can speak on my behalf too, that, at a certain points I was moving out, I was getting divorced, that kind of stuff too, that like finance started to hit, prep is starting to get expensive, had to pay for trips and stuff and having to dip into savings and that kind of thing. And, but again, when there's a will, there's a way. So, but yeah, I would say as far as like expenses go, like with all the things you have to pay for in prep, tan, show, travel, supplements, food, gym memberships, and that kind of stuff. That stuff added up together, but it's not really that stuff that's like killing you. It's really more so like the basic life things, the every day, the every week that you have to spend, the every month of rent, and trying to basically sustain your lifestyle too, right? So like if you have a certain lifestyle that you're living, how do you sustain it? And one thing for me too is that like moving on my own and going through things, like it almost kind of like sparked more motivation to make more money. And I'm sure other competitors feel the same way. Maybe Adam, you felt the same way. It's like, all right, well, in order to continue my journey, I'm not going to stop, but I need to do whatever it takes to make more money, and do it within the skills that I have. Some people will go through things and be like, oh, I need to go pick up like a minimum wage job just to have a second job and make extra money, which is not entirely a bad thing, but you have a certain skill set. Why not stay within your skill set and maximize everything that you possibly can within your skill set to make more money? You're a coach, you're a trainer. Why not use those skills to make more money? You can find a way to do it. So instead of trying to like Hail Mary jump to like other jobs that are not even within your skill set, that are just like, all right, anybody can do this job, just to make extra money. No, you're now you're going backwards almost in life. So we're still trying to go forward, even with bodybuilding and even in life. So why not continue to use that skill set? Find a way to make more money in that skill set that you have.
I think worse than getting a minimum job was when people tell me like, oh, I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to get a new bachelor's degree. It's like, you're going to, that's such the wrong direction.
We're spending money now.
Yeah, negative money. Now we're moving completely in the wrong. I'm going to go get a master's degree. Don't do that. That's a bad idea. But I agree with Anthony. I think you're confronted with an opportunity when you're in prep where you're probably the most locked in that you'll be from a habit standpoint to double down on what you're already good at. And it sounds like, Adam, that's exactly what you did. You recognized that an opportunity wasn't enough for you in the moment. It wasn't an opportunity that was worthy, respectfully, of your skill set as a whole. And you found something. Didn't plop into your lap. You didn't stumble into it. It wasn't something where, I knew the manager and he just gave me the job. Someone recognized your talent, your abilities, your dedication level, and where you were at in your journey, and saw you as someone who could be a valuable asset to their team. Anthony made a really good point. People, when they find themselves in these financial struggles, especially when you're in prep and you've got a lot of other stress, they really demean themselves or degrade themselves and say, I'll just go do this or that. And it's something that's very, very below them, instead of, taking that chance to level up because you have to.
Yeah, you have to put yourself, life kind of puts you in an uncomfortable situation sometimes. And I think it's a good thing. When you feel like you have zero options, and your only option is to be stuck where you are, you will figure out a way to kind of like advance in life, because that's the only option that you have, So, just like Ryan said, doubling down on your skill set, and you being in an uncomfortable situation, you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable to grow. So, and probably looking back in hindsight, you're probably like, man, I'm really proud of myself that I got through that part of my life and was still able to stay locked in and prep despite everything else going on.
Yeah, I definitely am very glad that I was able to make it through the trials and tribulations of all the different, job situations I've been in. And even taking the big leap after my show in 2022, even though I would say I didn't technically leave the job, I was actually fired 3 days out from my 2022 show. And so that happened to me, and I basically just had to say, all right, yeah, that was really bad. But basically, I just had to, right after the show, like most people would take that, I just got fired. I just got 4th place at a regional show. They would just go into a deep depression and, start eating a shit ton of food, which I won't lie, I did probably overeat a bunch that prep and kind of ruin my reverse, but I was able to just say, okay, yeah, exactly. And so I was able to just say, you know what, screw it. I don't have a job right now. I have all the free time in the world. I'm just going to recertify with my NASM, and I'm just going to work as a trainer, because that's what I've always wanted to do. I was working in the wedding industry at the time, and it was just not what I enjoyed, not what I wanted to do. It made my prep incredibly difficult to be around, wedding food and buffets and cakes and desserts and all that shit. So I was just like, all right, I just need to take the leap of faith and do what I actually want to do. And, I worked that job as a trainer for just over a year. Then I had the whole situation with the stretch place, and then they realized oh shit, we actually needed this guy as our trainer. And one of the other trainers, who's one of the best trainers there, basically talked to my manager. My regional manager was like, we need to get him back, and we need to get him in the leadership position. And so he basically vouched for me so hard to get this job, and it definitely paid off with working as hard as I did for that year as a trainer. Showed all the other people that I know exactly what I'm doing, that I'm capable. And so they I wouldn't say that it wasn't luck, because it was definitely a lot of luck too, but they basically just said, all right, well, everybody's vouching for you. Everybody says that you can do it, so we're going to let you try. And it's been a success ever since.
Well, to touch on the whole luck thing too, I mean, you also obviously showed like a certain skill that you have to these people, and it created buy-in, you know, and these people believed in you. So obviously they wanted their company to advance, or, you know, at least like contribute something. So like, hey, we got to get Adam back in, because whatever you were doing, I wouldn't say is luck, because you were working your ass off pretty much. And basically it's like, I think being around certain people, putting yourself around certain people is kind of like a way to, you know, make connections and propel you forward in life. And I wouldn't say it's luck, but maybe, you know, maybe there's a little bit of luck in there, but, you know, I think just like your work ethic is really what gets you there. I actually had like a similar situation in 2020. I was doing manual labor work, 45 hours a week. And I had about 4 clients. I was in
the roof. That man was living in people's roofs.
I was going in attics, going up 40-foot ladders, working on telephone, you know, on like cable poles and stuff. Kind of a dangerous job too, especially when I'm in a prep and I'm tired and, like, you know, cramping going up the ladder and stuff, wearing heavy boots, and it's super hot outside.
Like, I can't train today.
Yeah, no, I think I got heat exhaustion one time because I was in the attic.
Yep.
And I'm like, well, I can't just go like drink 30 Gatorades like everyone else can. I got to like stay on my diet or whatever. But so I was in the middle of prep getting ready to go to nationals, and I ran out of PTO, and I'm like, I'm going to my national show. I don't care if I get fired or not. And it was kind of a leap of faith. And honestly, kind of glad that it did happen, because it put me in an uncomfortable situation to grow in coaching, because I only had 4 clients, and then within like a month or two I was back, you know, I was up to 15, then 20, and it just created, you know, where I could put more time into coaching. So if anything, it was kind of like it worked out for the best, you know. And I think, you know, being in uncomfortable situations, again, you're just gonna find a way, you know. So
Definitely.
Carrie has a pretty similar story. She was like telling me in her check-ins every week, like, man, I hate my job. I'm so miserable. It's like, why don't you just quit and just find, well, what if the clients aren't out there? They're out there. Yeah. Trust me, they are out there for you. The work is out there. It's waiting to be done. Sometimes you just got to take that leap and, you know, put yourself in an uncomfortable position where it's find a way to get it done or not. And Adam, what I'll say, last point on your point about luck, is that someone told me once that luck is the residue of good preparation. You had done so many things in your life to prepare you for that position that even though it felt like in the moment it was luck where you kind of fell into it, what you're losing sight of is the years of experience you had gained before, all the skills you had honed and refined that put you in the position to even accept that job. If it was lucky, you'd be some fucking guy walking down the street. They'd be like, you got a good face for personal training management. You're the new hire. But that's, you know, that's never how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah, I really just say luck mostly with the timing of it, because it was like literally right before the show, and it was like I was down to like my last little bit in my savings, and I would basically have spent all of that just to go to St. Pete, and I would have had literally no money to go to USA's. So I was able to start that job 2 weeks before St. Pete, get a nice paycheck, get another couple of paychecks, and then be able to afford my flight and everything. And I was also lucky that I had a really close friend who moved out to California, so I stayed with him, was able to save some money there, and all in all, everything worked out.
You didn't want to hang out with me, Ryan, and
you did.
Steve?
Trust me.
Yeah, I didn't want to.
There was someone who was staying there who needs like 4 C. What's the step up from a CPAP? Is there like a CPAP senior where it like
the DPAP
are in you and it just the
DPAP. It's the hyperbolic time chamber.
Yeah, I should have slept on y'all's couch in that little kitchen. Yeah.
Yeah,
that would have been it. Woken up, get in there like 3 a.m. Woken up to Anthony breathing between his poses. Like, what are we doing today? This is what we're doing.
Yep.
But you did talk about the show there, so let's just talk about kind of the big show for you for the year, St. Pete. I would say that was kind of like your biggest triumphant moment of the year. Talk about some of the highs that came from that show, the show itself, afterward, leading into it. What were your best moments that you remember the most?
Yeah, St. Pete was definitely my best memory of the year, and just everything that went through with it. And I would say a lot of that was due to my girlfriend Ife. She came with me to St. Pete, and we were in a long distance relationship. She lives in Nashville, I live in Atlanta, and that was like literally the second time that we had ever seen each other in person. We had met like, I'd say 4, 6 weeks out from the show. She came over for like, a weekend or something. We met each other, decided to start dating, and then she came with me to St. Pete again, and we're still basically just like getting to know each other. And it was like that moment kind of solidified the feelings that we had for each other and kind of made us realize like, okay, this could be a future because of how much support I was getting from her. She was taking all my check-ins. She was helping me out with making meals. She was helping me get prepared. She was in the audience, like screaming for me. I could literally hear her screaming for me on the stage. And it's like, okay, this is what it's like to have like a genuine supportive partner along with you. And I was like, I didn't realize how much help that was. You hear a lot about, you needing a support system and all this and that about, from top level bodybuilders, but then you also hear bodybuilding is a loner game, which is another thing that y'all discussed in the podcast last time. And I started to like kind of shift that mentality as well from this is just me and my journey to this is something that I need help with. And I really realized how much of a benefit it was to have that support system. So that alone, just, spending the time with her and getting, learning about each other, learning about what it was like to have that support was definitely, one of the best moments, but also just being on that stage as well. Because I mean, I won't lie, I was nervous as hell before I got on stage, even though I was taking all the check-ins, I nailed my diet. Even, you were telling me how good I looked and how I was ready to go take that overall. I still in the back of my head was like, but am I really ready? Because I'm 20 pounds under my weight cap. I've always been, skinny, scrawny all my life. I'm used to being underweight. And when you walk into a show 20 pounds underweight, you're like, well, there's so much potential for someone else to come in here who's at their weight cap and could beat me, so on and so forth. I'm not big enough, this, that, and the other. And eventually I got on stage for the first time for doing open. And I stood next to everybody. I'm like, okay, I felt pretty good. I feel like I'm going to do a pretty good job. And then I get the very first picture of how I looked. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, holy fuck, that's awesome. And so that immediately boosted my confidence just to see like how I actually looked on stage and how well we nailed the peak, how well we nailed the diet. And then basically the rest of the show after that was just so much fun. Like knowing that all that stress was gone of like the preparation and worrying about how I'd look. Now I actually know exactly how I look and exactly how I stand up. So then I rush off stage for open. I get those pictures. I look at them and I'm like, okay, it's game time. And then I go right back on stage for classic. Like 5 minutes later, I feel like the fucking Terminator. And so I just posed my ass off, basically just, did as good as I knew I had the ability to. And I was just enjoying every moment on that stage, which is the first time I've ever actually enjoyed being on stage. The other two shows, I was more nervous. I was like, I don't feel ready. Even though I did the preparation, I still just felt like there was something missing. But St. Pete was the first time I was on stage and really felt like I belonged there. And that was a really, really awesome experience. And then obviously leaving prejudging, going home, being able to like rest and recover and take some time to kind of think about everything, let it soak in. I kind of realized like, oh shit, this is actually going to be like my first overall win. And then obviously come in there for finals. I do my routines. I feel like I did pretty well with my routines. I didn't really practice a routine all that much, actually. I kind of just like made it up on the spot a couple days beforehand, just practiced it a couple times during prejudging and finals and was just all like, all right, let's go and do this. And I did like the music that I selected because I had been like listening to it all throughout prep, like literally just putting it on and doing cardio, thinking about the moment that I was in right then and there, and just like finally being able to live through it and realize my potential. And then obviously, battled it out for the overall with Anthony, and that was a ton of fun too, to be able to stand next to my teammate and have us be the two clear winners of that call out. And then I know obviously watching Anthony win his overall prize, which was, it was awesome to see how emotional he got. Obviously, I didn't really know much about all the stuff that he had went through, but being able to listen to the podcast and hear everything that he did go through, it really like opened my eyes like, wow, that makes sense why he was so emotional now. And then obviously later on winning the classic overall and then being able to go out and, have burgers and everything with y'all. It was just the whole entire weekend was so much fun, and I'm glad that I actually got to meet y'all in person as well, because I had never met either of y'all in person until that day. And that was another awesome thing to be able to finally meet the man who's responsible for 4 years of my progress, and, you know, one of it, and a good teammate who's always been there and who I always looked up to as well. Because I remember I just basically started with you in 2020, and I'm like, who is this guy that Ryan's coaching? He looks pretty good. He's been working with him for a couple of years now. And, you know, basically just kind of like looking up to you as, I guess, sort of like a big brother without you being, you know, actually there for me and talking to each other, because we never really talked much until, you know, we went to St. Pete together. And even backstage, we didn't talk too much. We were both in our zones. But then after the show was over, we basically both just opened up to each other and realized how much more we had in common, and how, you know, we're both just two guys getting at it, you know, try to chase our dreams. And so there was just so many highlights from that weekend that I could continue to go over and over. But I would say that those three were the big ones: was being with my girlfriend for like the first real time and experiencing everything like that, and my support system, obviously winning the overall and being able to realize my potential, and then meeting you guys for the first time. Those are definitely the big three moments.
Anthony, do you have comments? I have comments. I have a lot.
I do.
I don't want to ramble.
Man, yeah, I mean, well, first of all, it's awesome that you kind of found that support in a partner too, touching from experience too, like dating a competitor. She also competes. So, right. So, and she just did her show not too long ago. So you were there to support her as well, which is awesome. And speaking from my past relationships, like we've always prepped together too. And that has always been like a really good, like teamwork, like kind of collaborative experience, you know. So it's really cool that you found that too in a partner. I feel like it's kind of hard to find a partner like that if they're not really like in competing or in the fitness industry, but luckily she is, so she understands and she gets it. So she's there, you know, taking your pictures, helping you with your meals, that kind of stuff. It takes a little bit of stress off of you too. So, and you know, I'm sure you guys helped each other as well in both your preps. So, you know, one thing too is like you said, that we never really met each other or talked, and even backstage we're like in our zone. So we're both very competitive people. You know, I think even at St. Pete, like, yeah, I had confidence going up there, but it was a long time before, like between shows, that I had stepped on stage. Even a little bit longer, because you were on stage 2022. For me, it was 2021 was the last time. So it was almost kind of like, it's kind of like starting all over again. It's kind of like your first show all over again. You get a little nervous, at least for me. But you know, and even us backstage, we didn't really talk. We're both in that competitive mindset. But I remember like the other competitors talking about you, like in your potential, you know, and basically like, you know, after prejudging, and you have like that oh shit moment, like, oh man, I look really good, you know, like very confident and stuff. Going into finals, it felt like my job wasn't over yet, because you were the winner of the light heavyweight, clearly. So it was like, okay, the job isn't over yet. Yeah, he's my teammate, but we're still both there to win, you know. And I think kind of like it pushed me to bring my best as well. So yeah, like, you know, and I get very anxious as a competitor too, because I'm so competitive. But it was a little bit more controlled than it usually was in the past. It was still a lot of excitement because I got to stand next to my teammate, and I remember when I think you were getting ready for the Classic, because Classic was after bodybuilding. We had still never talked, but after I got off stage and winning the overall and stuff, like I had a chance to speak to you right before you went up for Classic, and I think I just wished you good luck, and you know, I think we had a couple words, but just words of encouragement and stuff, and like, you know, basically like how I felt was like I was glad that you were there to push me to be my best, because everyone would tell me after prejudging that, man, you're gonna win the overall. You're gonna win the overall. In my head, I'm like, well, he looks really good too, and he's my teammate. He also has a good coach, you know. So you know, obviously our coach knows what he's doing. So I have to bring my best, and obviously it's no like I don't know how to, like, it's competitive, but it's not like bad intentions kind of competitive. It's just like, man, he's pushing me to like, I need to be my best because the job's not finished yet. And then, you know, once it was over, like it was kind of like a moment of relief too. And I think that's also part of the reason why I got so emotional on stage, not only just everything that happened in my off season, my prep, that kind of stuff, but basically just saying like, holy shit, I did it, you know, and having someone that was really competitive next to me. This wasn't no easy show like that. I just like walked up and won an overall. This was a competitive show, and there was even competitors in the other classes too. It was pretty competitive. But obviously, like me and you were I think, you know, winners of that class, obviously. So, you know, it pushed me to be my best. And so I was grateful to have you there too. And then like you said, afterwards, after the show, we got to like get burgers and stuff and open up. We got breakfast the next morning. And so like, it was really fun, you know, getting to know you. And then you will get into USA's, but that was a really big help too. Like just having a teammate. So, glad that I got to know you and that you were there too. So like sharing that experience with you and Ryan too, and other teammates, it was really fun.
Definitely.
St. Pete wrap up. I have comments, and I kept receipts. I always keep receipts. I'll always have them. So when you're up on stage and you think nobody's watching, we're watching you, bud. We're really watching you. Don't read my texts. Let's see. Do I have any incriminating text on here right now? Nah, nothing too bad in there. All right. So this was the overall pose down, and our fella right over here, far right. Hold on, I can't see him yet. Can't see him yet. Move, buddy. There we go. Mr. Smiles. He's all smiles. Adam's back there, all business. This guy on the far left knows he lost. This, I think it's a black dude right there. This black dude also knows that he lost. This fellow in the front, he's dead set on the fact that he won. Look at this. Look at this. I brought a picture. Can you see this picture? Hold on, let me scroll down to the picture. Actually, I'm going to change my screen share over to the picture because I want the pictures to be here. Where is it? All right, we'll just go back to the text. Jake, you can zoom in for us in post. We love you, Jake. You're the best. All smiles. And then Jake, move it in there. You can even show the video, too, of just an absolute face of being crushed. A transformation Tuesday, if you will. And this was just... This man's coach, like, raised a fucking scene, too. Like, ripped his hat off his head and threw it on the ground. And everyone in the crowd's like, is this guy on drugs or something? This wasn't even close. Anyone who was at the show that's watching this is like, correct. It was not even close. Adam clapped that boy's cheeks like it wasn't his business. I can never understand when it's so obvious like that. And everyone backstage is like, oh, dude, you're going to win. Talking to Adam. Oh, dude, you're going to win. You're going to win. You're going to win the overall. You're going to win the overall. And this guy's fucking sitting in the corner and he's like, I bet everyone back here is wrong. I bet everybody else who knows about bodybuilding is wrong. I bet I'm right. I bet I'm going to win. Dude, it wasn't even close. It wasn't even close. I kept some more receipts, guys. Here we go. All right. This is a post that Adam made. I think this was shared with Gilco, so it got like a lot of views on it. And I was scrolling the comments as they were rolling in. I wanted to highlight a couple comments here. One is from Razor Rob 2024. Mr. Razor Rob wants everyone to know, I'm the guy who told your teammate you won the whole competition overall. Hot take, Rob. That's a really long-winded way to say I was the guy that was super fucking wrong. Your frame needs to be filled out. You are the best physique in classic physique. They chose him because he had more mass on his short frame. These NPC judges only know conditioning and mass. Oh yeah, Rob? Is that all that these judges know? Oh yeah, Rob? Oh yeah, Rob? You think so, Rob? You think so? Is that all they know? Do you know better than them, Rob? Rob, you got 7 likes on this photo. 7, Rob. Don't tell Adam or Anthony shit about bodybuilding ever again. Never again, Rob. Does anyone know Rob?
I do not know Rob.
To him. We don't know Rob. Another one. from our good friend here, Jesus. Jesus says, great conditioning, super aesthetically pleasing in major poses. Now I'm going to make fun of you. Work those arms. Is that right, Jesus? Is that right? You think so? You think Adam needs to work his arms? Is that what you think, Jesus? Is that what you think? You think Adam needs to work his arms? Sir, the largest part of your arm is your varicose veins. You have lost every right to tell Adam anything ever again. No more telling Adam what he needs to work on. Adam's beautiful, and Jesus, that's not hashtag mature muscle. That's high blood pressure. That's decades of high blood pressure bearing down on you. But I thought that post was so funny. It's like such a good video, so quality, like everything looks so good on it, and these fuckers just have to come in there and they can't just say good job, congrats, you won the overall, great physique. They got to say like 3 nice things, and then they got to say, oh, but you got to bring up your arms. That part of bodybuilding,
Everybody's a judge on social media.
drives me crazy. Just say something nice and then just leave it at the nice thing. No one's asking for your advice. I won't show it, but I did like the other guy that did like very clear gay for pay photo shoots that was like, I would love to photograph you. And you commented something like, I don't like to be photographed like that, or something. It was something like that. It was super funny. But yeah, that wraps up St. Pete. I just wanted to make sure that everyone knows that we have those receipts. If you talk bad about one of my clients, I'm going to remember who you are probably for the rest of my life.
Brian, are you still on Instagram? Do you have that pulled up?
The post?
Do you have Instagram pulled up?
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to show the highlight of me and Adam? Because that was definitely the highlight. I don't know if you can play that out though, can you? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like one of the first posts on my page too. It's pinned.
Who posted the higher quality one? Did you post the higher quality one, or did?
Yeah, from Gilco.
Okay. I'll find yours.
It was, and I cropped it so it was just me and Adam, no one else, because I think Ryan said something like, no one else deserves to be in that call or something.
I mean, seriously, though, when you watch that overall, if you were at the show, no one else should have even been on the stage. They should have been like, all right, heavy, super heavy, lightweight, you guys pose. Okay, now we're going to bring out Anthony and Adam, and we're going to... It was like everyone else was guest posing, and then there were 2 people who actually competed at the show. But yes, I do still have that. I have it pulled up here. I appreciate the crop. Just like watching,
trying to highlight me and my teammate.
Yeah, just trying to highlight the teammate. Can see someone's elbow over there that didn't deserve.
Yeah.
This guy was super nice. Ron Gallup.
Yeah.
Super nice.
Oh yeah, I remember beating him.
Straw. No, he was the guy that was like expediting. He was the one that was being super nice backstage, helping out.
Oh, was he? I
Yeah.
I know he had a client. Well, he had a client competing against you, Adam.
Oh,
he got
did he?
second to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ron, he's actually like he is local here, so we kind of know of each other. He goes to local gyms around
The
here.
difference for both of you guys in this video versus Nationals is crazy.
Oh, like in conditioning too, for sure.
Conditioning.
Yeah, that's the video though. Yeah, but I mean, we just both looked super good, like in the poses too. Like and that's the one thing too. Like Adam, you touched on like not really practicing for your posing routine. I don't really think you have to when you're a good poser. Like I practice some of my posing routines one time, and then I just like look at the video before I get on stage and just do it. And I think that just happens from being a good poser.
Yeah, I think Adam's the exception to it, but I think every white bodybuilder is like really got to practice it. We don't have that natural rhythm, Anthony. We don't have that built in. So that doesn't work for us. Adam's in and out.
Yeah.
You getting phone calls? You popular? Are you popular now, Adam? Adam,
Said his,
you're more popular now.
His recording failed. He has to stop and restart the studio recording.
Oh, that's interesting. We were talking about, well, he comes back. We'll talk about USAs when he gets back. I wanted to show this other video. I sent this to you the other day, Anthony, but I wanted to show it on the podcast because I think it's really funny. Don't look at me in Anthony's DMs. Remember this video that I sent you?
Yeah.
Dude, a rear glute spread has been like in my posing jokes arsenal for a very long time. I think that was an actual rear glute spread. I want to rewind.
It's like a moon pose.
Is that actually what it's called?
Yeah.
Moon pose?
It's been banned. It's been banned in the IFBB and NPC, I think.
It's banned?
It's banned.
Yo, this guy actually doesn't look. This guy doesn't look too bad, but like starting your posing routine with that is crazy. Crazy. Wait till you see this pec tear that he has too.
Oh yeah, it's a very Hunter Labrada-ish esque tear right there in the pec.
But Hunter Labrada actually has pecs.
Yeah.
And then he tore them. This guy doesn't really have much for pecs. What's up with this PCA division? Do you know anything about the PCA?
I know. I think it's that.
It's the UK's number one bodybuilding and fitness organization. So I guess it's probably like a spin-off of the NPC in the UK.
I think it started in the UK and it like transitioned over the States too. But
I got some posing videos. I meant to send it. All right, I'm gonna stop watching this. I don't know how many more times I can actually watch that. I got another video from them, and it was like a men's physique overall pose down. Like all the guys were like running into each other and elbowing each other. What do you think about that on stage? Like getting aggressive and like actually making physical contact with other people on stage.
You're talking about IFBB?
IFBB,
Like,
NPC,
any...
PCA, natural organizations, whatever it is.
I think it's okay if it's all fun and games. It's not actually like bad intentions. And you're actually not just like trying to push them off the stage. Because I saw a video like, back in the day, Lee Priest was getting shoved around the stage from like Ronnie Coleman and all the huge guys, Flex Wheeler, all them. It was like, get out of here, little guy, like the short guy, you know. And you know, being a short guy myself, I was a little bit of
short king.
I'm like short king.
Check in. All right, Anthony, this is I think that you should be allowed to elbow someone once on stage on purpose, and then if you keep doing it, you're done. You get the fuck off of here. What are you doing? You're off.
I remember Breon Ansley and Chris Bumstead kind of elbowing each other in a back double bicep on the Olympia stage, and Steve literally put Breon way on the outside of the call out. I believe he got like the year before he got like second place, and then that year he got like third or fourth or something. Yeah. I was like, all because they were elbowing each other. I think just like you're out of
don't do that.
You're out of here.
Don't do that. But I also hate it when expediters are like, all right, let's put like 14 bodybuilders on the line all at once. It's like, how did you thought that was going to check out? You put 14 super heavies on the line all at once. Like, guys, spread out. Let's not do any of that. Adam, you ever check somebody on stage?
I think at my first show, I may have like bumped elbows with someone in like the back double, but not like intentionally. So it's never been like a fight on stage or anything. I was most certainly polite about it.
I'm sorry. I actually have another random question for you guys before we move on. Just a general bodybuilding question. I don't get to talk to bodybuilders as much as I used to, so this is a pleasure having you guys on here. So obviously everyone knows Nick Walker dropped out of the Olympia. I would say a significant amount of people who bought tickets to the Olympia wanted to see Nick Walker. It was at least contributed to why they were going to the Olympia in the first place. The NBA talks a lot about like, you know, finding players or potentially refunding tickets when like star players decide they want rest or they want to sit out. I know this is obviously a different situation, but when this was announced, I saw someone comment and say, you know, Nick should be fined, or like there should be some sort of punishment for not doing the show. What do you guys think about that whole situation with, you know, Nick dropping out? And what do you think about possibly like finding bodybuilders that are supposed to compete at big shows? They're the reason why people are coming to it, and then they drop out.
I definitely think that if you sign a contract, it's kind of, you know, most people, if they void a contract, there's usually punishment.
Is there an Olympia contract? I'm competing. I'm signing this contract.
Yeah, there is.
Oh, so he might actually be
fined or
paying some dollars. What do you think about that, Anthony?
Well, I will say this. Brandon Curry was in the hospital the day before the Olympia last year, and someone asked him, I know that you passed a mirror on the way to Olympia when you got out of the hospital bed, knowing that you weren't 100%, but you still showed up anyway. And Brandon pretty much said, yeah. And I surprised myself and I still got fourth place, knowing that I wasn't at 100%. So it actually gave me more confidence going into the next competitive season. And he did commit to being there for his fans. So that's one thing I'd say. Like, and Brandon Curry, also former wrestler, has, I think
got to get that in there.
Some of that same mentality. I've had the pleasure of speaking with him at a couple of shows, Olympia and Tampa Pro, where we kind of talked about wrestling. His kids wrestle too. They're highly competitive in sports. So, just having that like competitive mentality, and also like, again, your fans are expecting you to be there too. So, yeah, I'm not sure. I don't really have too much of an opinion on it. I'll just say like, I think some people handle it better than others. And, one could say that it wasn't really Nick's fault because he doesn't coach himself.
Ooh.
So the people that never missed twice at the Olympia with Sean Clarita, and yeah. So we're missing now. You're not never missing.
If you put a bullseye emoji in your caption, I'm scrolling straight through. Anything that you post after that bullseye emoji is done. We're done. No more of that. Adam, what do you think? You think Brandon Curry has that dog? You think Nick Walker's soft? 2-ply soft?
Yeah, I think he is soft. And it was like, either face the embarrassment of not looking the way that you wanted at the Olympia, or face the embarrassment of everybody calling you Nick Talker.
I didn't know that one. I like that.
That's good. Because it's like, either way, if you don't compete, people are going to talk shit. So it's like, you might as well just go and get like 10th place or whatever, and just hope that that's for the best.
I still think he would have ended up like top 6, to be honest.
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
Like,
unless he was like
alone.
way off.
I think he was going to be way off.
Yeah, I could tell looking at the video he posted with Matt. He definitely looks like he's almost in off season right now.
It's crazy to have all year basically a drug budget that has no limit. This is all you do. It's your full-time job, and you still miss to that degree to where you can't even, you're right, I guess you could get on. You don't get on the stage.
Yeah, there was some speculation
of the Don't Miss crew. I think that Sean actually looked very good. I just think that Keon is like good luck. Yeah. Talk about an uphill climb. Sean had his years where Keon didn't exist, and then Keon started existing.
Yeah, and when it comes to Nick, I heard some speculation on apparently his gear wasn't real or something. I don't know how true that is, but
that would be wild.
That would be wild.
Those shipments that are arriving at Chris Bumstead's house, signed for by Melissa Bumstead. I was told that those are the purest quality that there is.
Yeah.
Whatever even happened to that? Did Melissa Bumstead go to jail?
I think she had a mugshot. So yeah, I think so.
Chili's?
Yeah, probably get bailed out.
Might not have gone to jail.
No.
Melissa Bumstead in a women's prison is like that. The women in there would be no limit. There would be everything. All rules are canceled. It's game over.
But one thing I'll say about Sean Clarita is I think he still looked better last year. He was about 4 pounds heavier. He looked like his body just looked tired, kind of overtrained, maybe over dieted. They definitely did come in like a little bit more conditioned, but he lost a lot of fullness and size. And I think when you're competing with Keon, who's got like this crazy shape and fullness, like you have to bring. Yeah, I think Sean was still pretty conditional last year. He brought a touch more fullness, but I didn't see why there was any reason why he couldn't bring a little bit more of a balance of, okay, bring the conditioning in a little tighter, maybe not fill out as hard, but still bring the size, a pretty good amount of size. So
there is like a tipping over point where I think you go from like grainy, great conditioning in your career over to like this weird knurled, you look like an old tree in the forest. So you're like, that's just a super old tree. You
Pitted
get that
date?
vibe?
A pitted date?
Yeah, like a date. All right, you guys talk about USAs. I'm gonna go take a console call really quickly. I love you. I love both of you.
All right. Are you back?
Yeah, I'll be back.
Okay. Yeah. Well, so USA's, man. Did you get any sleep the night before that?
I actually did, yeah.
Yeah, I think I asked you that day, the day of the show. I like saw you and I was like, did you get any sleep? You're like, yeah. I'm like, I didn't get any sleep. I didn't sleep.
Yeah.
I was just so excited to get up there though. It was like, but yeah, that was honestly like definitely, I would say the funnest national show I've ever done too, especially having a teammate there too, just made it a lot more fun. Like someone to hang out with backstage, and then it also like having you there too, just kind of like helped with my confidence too, because like I was like, what did Ryan say? Did Ryan say anything? I think it was coming back around to like my individual routine or whatever. And I came back around and I saw you. I was like, did Ryan say anything? What did he say? He's like, you look the most peeled up there and you should be good. I'm like, all right. Yeah. But, I mean, obviously it was your first national show. Like, did you have like, I feel like we all kind of do, like even my first national show, like I have an expectation. We have an expectation when you're looking your best, and we did look our best to like, all right, I'm expecting to be like top dog. And I think having that expectation too might bring some anxiety. Did you feel like any anxiety?
I definitely felt a little bit of anxiety because I just knew the competition would be like 10 times more competitive than it was at St. Pete. And I was just kind of like mentally preparing myself. And I had the same kind of anxiety about if I would even stack up well, given the fact I'm 20 pounds under my cap. And I mean, I knew at the end of the day that it would be like really, really tough, but I knew that I had some strengths that a lot of people don't have. And most of what everybody would have on me is just size, which in classic doesn't really matter all that much. It is still bodybuilding at the end of the day. So if you're not big enough, then you don't have what it takes. But if I have the shape, the condition, the posing, everything like that, I feel like I could have stacked up well. And I would say I was a little bit disappointed in the placing I got. Like if that's really how important size is in classic, like it just puts you completely out of the first call out, then, so be it. I just need to come back in a year or two with the 20 pounds that I need to put on. And once I put that size on with the shape and the condition that I can bring and the posing that I have, I think it'll be game over for round 2.
And I wouldn't say that you have like any regrets of doing that show, right? Like you don't regret being there or even placing the way that you did. Like if anything, it's probably going to drive you forward for the next time that you step on a national show. And I think we talked about a little bit of that, like after the show, like when you got off stage, we talked a little bit about like how this is going to like propel you forward. You're going to want to like, you're going to take your off season. Obviously you take your bodybuilding seriously, but which has always been a good thing. All right. Like, but you're now know what to expect for the next time you go into a national show. And you know what you have to do from now until then to put on that size. And obviously you've made a lot of progress in the past couple years. So why couldn't you do the same? Right? Like, why couldn't you make that progress that you need to make in order to place well? And I think for you too, like, I think you're always going to climb up. I feel like basically it's only up from here for you, for your national shows, like going forward. I feel like that you're never like, I think you were second call out, or I can't remember if it was second or third, but I feel like you're just going to basically climb the ranks until you get to your pro card, and knowing what you have to improve on. Obviously is size, right? But it's like you have the structure, you have the frame. A lot of people don't have that. A lot of people are not gifted or blessed with those genetics, and you are. So really it's just a matter of time. And I think I said in the last podcast too, like even for me, my last couple of national shows, like, yeah, I failed, or I didn't get what I needed, or didn't get what I wanted, but it's just a matter of time. It's not an if, it's a when.
Exactly. And that's kind of like what eased me down too from the disappointment of the placing was like they had a judge there literally right after I got off stage for finals. They gave me my feedback. The judge had nothing but good things to say other than just simply get bigger. And I know that as long as I have all the other pieces of the puzzle and the last piece of that puzzle is just takes time to acquire, then I'll just simply, keep grinding, put my nose down, wait the amount of time required to get to that point, and then just put the puzzle piece in the puzzle, and then go step on stage again and just, bring a massively improved look and, definitely be a lot more competitive for the next round. And I wouldn't say I regretted anything about that show. I definitely think that if I had done that national show alone, like I didn't have you guys out there, I didn't have my girlfriend with me out there, and I didn't have my friend that I was staying with, and I actually had my parents. They flew out too. They treated it like a little vacation. So I had everybody that I cared about was there. And so that made the whole experience and being there for the weekend so much more enjoyable. If I had gone out there by myself and had spent all that money and been alone and then got that placing, I would have 100% regretted doing it. But the experiences that I got, the knowledge that I got of where I need to be versus where I'm at right now, and then obviously having everybody there and being able to really enjoy my time out there was what made it not regrettable in the end. So again, it just attests to that support system and having people around you that understand your goals and are there to help you out essentially. So I'm very, very grateful for the whole weekend in general, and I'm glad about everything that happened.
Yeah. And I mean, thinking back to like my last national shows, like where there's hundreds of competitors and this was your first national show, like, and I've seen it in wrestling too. When we were kids flying to like national shows across the country where you have like 32 like state champions in your, so there's probably how many overall champions at a national show, right? You were one of them, right? So like there's probably a couple other overall champions that were there from other shows. And it's like, these are the best of the best all at the same place. And one thing you can say is like, how many people did you have in your class? Probably close to 30 people. There was a ton of people backstage for Classic. I was really surprised at the numbers. But the one thing is like the next time you go to a national show, you're not as nervous because it's like, you know what? I've been at a big venue like this before. Just, under those big lights, big stage, head, IFBB pro judges, you're not as nervous because you've been there before. So, and sometimes, and you didn't get the placing you wanted, but sometimes it just takes being there one time to give you those expectations and what you need to work on and like set kind of like what to expect for the next time you go up there. And I think, going up there the next time, you'll probably be like less nervous. I think there's always a little bit of nervousness and anxiety that comes with it competing at a high level like that. But you'll be able to like channel it. And I think over the past few years, I've gotten better at kind of channeling it. And I don't know if we talked about this backstage, because we definitely had like a lot of time back there to talk and stuff. But I think I might have told you just enjoy being up there. And I think I might have said that at finals too, because obviously prejudging was over and like you didn't get the call that you wanted. But I think I said something like, hey, it's finals, just like go up there and like smell before you go up there, smell the roses, like stop and smell the roses, enjoy everything that you've gone through this prep, everything that you've been through leading up to this point. Because, you don't really get a lot of time up there and it's a privilege to be up there. So take your time, don't rush on and off the stage, just kind of enjoy that moment and take it all in, trying to soak it all in, and so that you can create those good memories too and look back on it and, like you said, not regret anything and really just like, overall fun, good experience. But one thing too is like you talked about your parents flying out and stuff, and speaking similarly to my situation too, like my support group kind of like friends flying out, spending money to go out there, spend money on hotels and stuff. And it was very surprising to me that they wanted to do that. They wanted to be there. And it kind of like created some like more belief in myself that these supporters wanted to come watch me, whether I win or lose. And I think probably like, from your experience, having your family, your girlfriend out there, like you probably felt a little bit more like, all right, like I deserve to be here. Like, look at how many people came to support me, to be here. It's not just me on my own, like we talked about before, like leaning into your support group and not like isolating yourself. Because like you said, if you probably went there by yourself, you probably would have regretted it, just because the experience wouldn't have been as good. But yeah, like, having those people just, come out to support you, just like it means so much to you that it just becomes like, I don't know, like another thing to push you forward, and another thing that's like, okay, the next time I go to compete at a national show, like, if they flew all the way to California to watch me compete my first national show, imagine my next national show. They're going to believe in me even a whole lot more, and it's going to create a little bit more confidence in yourself too. So yeah, that's really cool that, they came out there and supported your first national show. I remember like my first time I stepped on stage, I had my it was my girlfriend at the time, my mom, I say my grandma too, but like, I almost got like to the point, like I was isolating myself so much, I almost didn't want them there. I almost told them like not to come, because I think at prejudging too, I was by myself. I didn't have anybody come to prejudging at my first show because I was not confident in myself. And also like, I just like didn't want to disappoint anyone. But when you have supporters there, whether you win or lose, those supporters are there for you and your experience, and to support you whether you win or lose. They don't care if you did lose. They're just going to be there to cheer you on for the next one, and they're there along that whole journey into the next national show and the next national show. So yeah, it's good that you had people out there and people flying out there to support you and stuff. So after, let's talk like post-show USAs. Did you guys go out to eat? Because I think me and Ryan and Steve, like we all went to go eat at like a buffet. And you think you went with your parents somewhere? It was like a Mexican place.
Yeah, I went with my girlfriend, my parents, and my friend that I was staying with. We all went to a Mexican restaurant, which was coincidentally like literally right next to the Cold Stone Creamery. So I went and I got the Mexican food, then I went all the way back to their place, and then I had to Uber back to the Cold Stone to get ice cream, and then we hung out for a little bit.
Yeah, that was the biggest Cold Stone ice cream I've ever had in my entire life. I did not expect them to fill that like waffle bowl, whatever it was.
Yeah.
So much. It was like 3 scoops of ice cream. In the past, I've ordered it, and they like, all right, you want 3 scoops in this waffle bowl? We're going to like condense it down and make it fit. Like, no, they just like piled it on top of each other and just became this like big pile of ice cream. Yeah. And I couldn't even walk back. It was hard to walk back to where we parked the car. So, yeah, we went to like it was like a Mongolian, like Asian kind of like buffet grill or something. And it was weird. Like they had like you can make like Philly cheesesteaks and burgers there. I don't know why. I'm eating all this like Asian food buffet, and I was like, oh, I want a Philly cheesesteak. It wasn't that good. And my Philly cheesesteak experience could have been a lot better somewhere else at a real Philly cheesesteak restaurant. But yeah, I just like saw everything, and I was like, I want that, and that. And then the ice cream was over the top, man, literally.
Yeah, that's actually hilarious, because at the airport on the way back, there was like a Jersey Mike's or something, and they were selling cheesesteaks. I'm like, I want to get a Philly cheesesteak.
And I'm sure Jersey Mike's Philly cheesesteak was pretty good too.
Yeah, it was decent. It was worth it.
And then did you end up flying out? It was Monday. That's right, because we met up on, I think it was like, was it Sunday that we went out? Yeah, we met up to go grab it was like a chicken sandwich place or something. Like, it was a really good chicken sandwich. It was like kind of spicy, but I had seen like literally weeks before the show, places were popping up on my Instagram from California, like that whole area that I was going. I was like, how do you know that I'm going to be there? And they're like sending me like these food places. I'm like, I'm putting that on the list. So, and then, I was like, I want to go here. I want to go there and try this place. Like, and then we ended up going to get the chicken sandwiches there. There was like a ramen place next door, and there was a lot of good like Asian food in California too. So I was like, oh, we got to try that too. And then I sat down and ate a bowl of ramen. Oh man. Yeah. I went a little crazy that day, but, so, how was the flight like back home and stuff? Was it like, and obviously you have like like thoughts about the show and stuff like that. Did you fly home by yourself or did you fly back with your girlfriend?
So I flew back by myself. She flew to Nashville. I flew to Atlanta. And with the flight back, I would say it was a dumb decision, but I didn't really like, it was either fly back super early in the morning and lose all of my Monday, or fly back Sunday night and attempt to sleep on the plane. So I flew back Sunday night, tried to sleep on the plane, pretty much got like maybe an hour of sleep during the whole flight, and then had to just like sleep all through Monday. Anyway, so
Yeah. Did you feel like, I don't know, like obviously like I don't know what it is about planes, but I get on a plane and I like start like overthinking about things, and I was just kind of like trying to take the whole weekend. And obviously it was like I got my pro card, so it was a little bit of emotion, like it was pretty emotional for me. Did it feel like, and obviously we're both at the end of prep at this point too. Did it feel like kind of like, I don't know, man, like is it like the post prep blues, like the post show blues kind of hit you? I don't know if that happens to you, but it happens to me all the time, where it's just like I start to try to like soak in everything that happened, winning or whatever happened, and just kind of like it all hits you at once, and then you got to also be like, oh, I got to go back to real life now, like prep is over.
yeah, it was definitely more of the, oh shit, I have to go back to real life now. And just, going from, being out in California, treating it like a vacation basically that I also do a show for. And then just going back to, working 9 to 6 at the gym, training clients, selling programs, stuff like that. So it was more so just like, now I have to go back to my real life than really reflecting on stuff, because I feel like the most that there is to reflect on other than the experiences that I went through was like, okay, I've just got to work for another 2 years and I'll be where I want to be. And so I was just kind of like thinking about, what I could potentially change with like my training and what my reverse is going to look like as well. And, I wouldn't really say that it was any different than what I thought it would be for the reverse. And, with changes to training and all that stuff, it was just kind of same old, but just do it a little bit more, focus a little bit more, try my hardest to put as good of an effort into every single day as possible so that there's no, missed opportunities.
Yeah, I mean that's bodybuilding, right? Like it's not like what was working is still gonna work, right? You don't have to make all these crazy changes. You just kind of like continue doing what you were doing before, and you just like you said, put a little bit more effort into it and just stay like monotonous on your training, nutrition and stuff, and your regimen. But yeah, I mean for me too, like thinking like, all right, I got to get back to like coaching and like being a little bit more like just kind of like present in like what's going on around me. Like also I just like got into a new relationship, so I was dating, and and some things happened also. Like we talked about like obstacles through prep, but we don't talk about obstacles like when you're in off season. Like there's all kinds of stuff that you got to go through that like we don't talk about, because it's like, oh, there was no like destination at the end, no like final like a show, right? So they're just like regular things you go through because it's life. And I kind of had like this like feeling because something like got back home and like it was my birthday the following week, and like the day before my birthday was like a tragic day for me, and I basically like was having this thought like, why God, why is this happening to me right now? Like all these good things happen, but then this happened. And then I was like, wait a minute, I had to like change my thought process immediately. As soon as I recognized it, I was like, hold on, like all these good things happen, and just because this little like bad thing happened, another obstacle, like doesn't mean that like it's all over, like you can use it to kind of still propel you forward. And like I was like put in an uncomfortable situation and I found my way out. Like, your back's up against a wall. You kind of have to like find a way out. When there's a will, there's a way, like we talked about earlier. And I kind of just try to like think back to the mentality that I had backstage at USA's of like I haven't failed yet. And just because there's an obstacle, like doesn't mean that I can't get through this. So I have to like think back to like my prep mind and like continue that prep mindset through what was going on post prep, so that I didn't like become like have like a negative attitude. I just try to keep a positive attitude throughout everything going on, and think back to like how I thought in prep. Like no matter what happens, I'm gonna find a way out. there's always a solution to a problem, and we're going to be fine. And this is probably just meant to happen, and we're going to make something good come of this. And I did. But it was just kind of like a weird kind of like switch that I had to like, I kind of felt like prep is over. You turn that switch off, right? And then something happens like, hold on, I got to revert back to like the mentality I had in prep of like keeping a positive attitude all the time, because life is going to throw shit at you that you just have to like roll with the punches with, no matter if you're in prep or an off season or post show.
Guys, I got to go rake my backyard with my child.
Right.
I love you both. I'm back, and I'm immediately leaving. I love you.
What? I can't hear you.
Am I muted?
No, I can hear you.
Oh, Anthony.
You can hear him?
You can hear me?
I can, yeah.
Okay. I need to go rake my backyard with my child. I love you both. I'll talk to you both very soon. Enjoy the rest of the podcast. Get the Performance Podcast. Like, comment, subscribe, comment again. Do all that good stuff. We love you. We'll see you on the next episode. Later, guys.
I don't hear anything.
Peace, Ryan.
Fill him in, Adam. Let him know what I said. All the important shit I just said.
Pretty much just gave his plug for the Gifted podcast, and then he just said goodbye. So,
well, hopefully the recording picked that up, because I didn't hear anything. So, but yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much it for like USAs and you know, pretty much our preps. But I think one thing I do want to kind of end it on is I think I feel like competing with a teammate was like a whole different experience than competing by yourself. I think that brought like anxiety and a lot of those things that I had like in the past kind of way down. I don't know how you felt about it. Like, I know it was definitely like something different. It was probably easier or cooler to have like a teammate back there, but just like more helpful, right? But yeah, I mean, like, what's your take on like having or competing with teammates? Like in the future, I wish I could compete with a teammate every single time, because I think that was the best experience competing that I've ever had. It was with like sharing that, you know, like backstage experience with someone, you know?
yeah, I completely agree. I definitely would like to have a teammate every single time I compete from here on out, because it's good to just like have someone to bounce how you're thinking off of and just kind of like, you know, tell each other back and forth. Because obviously when you're in the moment and you're backstage, you're going to have you're racing thoughts at like 1,000,000 miles an hour, and you're always thinking like the absolute worst, and you just kind of have to like just say that to someone for someone to kind of push you in check and realize like, no, dude, like you did everything that you had to do. You know, you're on point. This is just, you know, you're going to feel these feelings, and you just need to go up there, pose your ass off, and, you know, let the cards fall as they fall. And, and basically it's just like, I kind of think about it like most bodybuilders post on social media. We're always sharing our entire preparation. We're always telling everybody, sharing every little thing, maybe not every little thing, but sharing most of the journey with everyone, posting your check-ins, posting your training, this, that, and the other. And then the day of the show to just kind of like be all reclusive and not talk to anybody and not want to share the moments that you're experiencing with people, which is what you've been doing the entire prep. It's just kind of like completely backwards. And so I feel like having someone to be there with, share how you're feeling, share what you're doing, and, you know, being able to really, you know, just have someone there for you is so important.
Yeah. I think for me too was like, and in the past, even at the St. Pete show, like we just isolate ourselves. We get in our zone, and then we just like, we're so like, you're just one track minded on, we have to compete. We have to compete. We don't think about like the stuff that's going on around us. And like, it's kind of nice to have just a little bit of a distraction, like just to get your mind off of like having to perform, you know? And yeah, it was definitely, I would say, is like way different experience than competing by yourself. Like, it's just and I can see why people like, I know there's like these big teams that go out to shows together. I can see why people like want to be part of a team, you know what I mean? They want to be part of a team that goes to shows together, because you have teammates competing no matter what division they're competing in. You still have someone to like kind of calm you down, distract you a little bit, talk to you, give you tips, or just kind of tell you, hey, like, you know, you need to go fix your glaze and stuff like that. I think even backstage, you were sweating a little bit at USA's, and I had grabbed a couple paper towels and like patted you down. Not the guy that, oh my God, you remember that guy that was slapping this, I don't know, you were like, how much money did he pay this coach to just slap the shit out of his back like for like half an hour before he got on stage. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, and it was every time too. Like he got on stage for like preliminaries and then got off stage. The guy was back there like just patting him down. Then he did his like individuals and then got patted down again, then comparisons, then for before finals, he was doing it again.
That coach was working hard, man. He was working the whole time, just patting this guy down, like smacking his back. I don't know what he was doing, but it was loud and it was obnoxious. I just remember looking over like, and a couple other competitors who were like, what are they doing over there?
Yeah. Like I think he was trying to put glaze on.
Yeah.
And it was just like, instead of, wiping it, they were just like smacking him with it.
Yeah. I was like, that can't be good. Like that can't actually work. Yeah. I've never seen anything like that. So that was a deal. But yeah, no. Yeah. And then, as far as like moving forward, man, what do you like thinking, for like your next preparation? Or I know you're like in a different mindset. Like we're all in the off season. Like we're just trying to get as big as we possibly can, put on the size, make the improvements before we think about like, what's the next show? Because I feel like a lot of competitors, they get off stage, they're like, all right, my next show is going to be this. Like, hold on. We have to set up a plan. We got to set up a reverse. We got to set up, okay, what weight do we need to get to? Like, how do we need to look? What improvements do we need to make? But where's your head at now as far as like when the next time you're competing is? You have like an idea, like a rough timeline?
Yeah, I mean, I would like for it to be late next year, so that way I have like another kind of like 18-month break like I did from 2022 to this year. But considering how much size I have to put on, I'm really just letting it, just letting the time go by and then determining like right before prep starts that I'm ready, because I don't want to like say, oh, I'm going to compete next year and then not put on but like half of the weight I need to put on, because I honestly don't want to compete under my weight cap again. I've done 4 shows and I'm still 20 pounds under my cap. I just feel like I don't want to say wasting time, but there's so much more potential that I could grow to that I don't want to step on stage again until that potential is realized. And I actually have what it takes to turn pro right then and there. So maybe late next year, if not then like early 2026. Is hopefully when I'll do a show next. But for the time being, I would say ever since USA's ended, I've been kind of like relaxed with I wouldn't say my dedication to bodybuilding, but just relaxed with my meal plan, relaxed with my training plan. Just been kind of enjoying training, enjoying eating food that I don't normally eat. And my birthday is coming up in 2 weeks. I'm turning 26 and I'm going on a cruise for that to the Bahamas. And so I'm just going to treat that as like my last little vacation before I start like a really, really rigorous off-season plan. And Ryan and I are going to talk about what that's going to look like here pretty soon. And then just going to execute every single day until I put on that 20 pounds, 30 pounds I need to put on.
Yeah, I think that's needed, like in bodybuilding. I feel like so many people will either one, they just kind of like get off stage and they're like so focused on the next time they compete, like they're rushing back to the stages, like chronic dieting, and they don't put the size, like you said, they don't put the size on that they need to be competitive, and like they don't take their time. And I remember like my last off season was like 3 years. I was like, I'm just gonna give myself as much time as I need, and not rush back to the stage. And I think you're on the right track with that. Just like you're not chasing the stage, you're chasing the look. And I think that's what everyone needs to do. If they really want a pro card, chase the physique. Don't chase, competing or getting back onto the stage, because what that's going to do is kind of slow you down a little bit, like you said, and kind of waste time, So, but I think 100% you need balance, like to kind of turn that switch off for a little bit and just kind of like enjoy food, enjoy life, vacation, travel, enjoy time with friends and family, because when you get back into prep, it's locked in, you got the switch on, and you're just like, no, I can't travel this weekend because I just want to stick to my meals. Like I just, you kind of get like build a little bit of anxiety of like traveling or having to do things, or even like social outings, but I think too, like in prep, the more that we prep, we get better at like learning how to still like, go to these like social outings in prep and still stick to our plan and not like go off plan from it. So we just get better at balancing everything from the off season into prep, and vice versa. So but it's definitely important to like just kind of shut your mind. You're getting ready to do like a hard off season too, definitely important that you enjoy the time from being off stage till then. Just like, and I did too. Like, I had an 8-week health phase post show, and I just kind of like, I was going out to eat like twice a week. I was just, going out, like enjoying time with like friends and family and stuff. So, yeah, it's important and I think every competitor kind of needs to do that. Like, even coming off the Olympia stage, competitors are doing that. Like, competitors are just like, yeah, I need like 2 weeks just like not worry about being 100% bodybuilder, that lifestyle. So, and even like good coaches like Henny Rambod will talk about like, all right, like you were in prep for this many months, like you and your wife, and just go somewhere, take a vacation, go on a date, do things like, and I think good coaches will understand that, and they will help you. They'll be like, okay, like they don't know, like some athletes don't know when to pull back because they're always locked in. You need a coach sometimes, or someone to tell you like, hey, you need to just pull it back a little bit, just enjoy life for a little, because you're about to get ready to do, another off season or other prep. So yeah, man, that's good that you're doing that. So, well, I'm looking forward to seeing like your off-season progress and how much you grow and stuff. And I'm sure you and Ryan will come up with a really good plan for that. And I'm definitely looking forward to the next time you can compete too. I'll definitely be there. I want to be there just because, I mean, your structure, your genetics, and just like the way you present yourself on stage is really exciting. I know a lot of people at St. Pete that were talking about that too, like just the way that you present yourself. You were just a very exciting competitor to watch. So you brought, I think there's like competitors out there that just bring that like that presence, like that presentation, that like flair to the stage, and you definitely have that. So obviously, you're gonna have a bright future. Just keep working, and and continue your off season and do what you need to do to put the size on. I think you'll, the next time you go to compete, I think you'll be right there.
Yeah, I really, really appreciate the kind words, and I'm really looking forward to seeing your progress too, and making the road to your pro debut. It might take a while, but I'm definitely looking forward to seeing it when it does happen, and all the progress that's going to be happening up until that point. And so we'll definitely be watching each other, kind of egging each other on a little bit, like seeing how much progress can we both make in the next year or two until that does happen. And you'll come to my show. I'll definitely be there for your pro debut as well, and it'll be an awesome time.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. Yeah, hopefully, maybe we even prep together too, because you're right around that same timeline too, where we like,
yeah.
We also both need to put like 20 pounds of tissue on. So yeah, it might be like around the same timeline anyway. So that'd be really cool. And
yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. But all right, man. Well, it's good talking to you. It's good having you on the podcast too. And I'm sure Ryan and Jake will get everything edited and stuff. So
yeah,
but yeah, man. Do you have any plans on like coming down to Florida or anything like that?
I haven't made any yet. I would like to come sometime early next year, though. And if I do go down there, it's going to be St. Pete again, because Aoife and I are always talking about how much we loved St. Pete and how awesome of a place it was to be. And so if we go there, it'll definitely be there. And I'll be sure to hit you up for, a training session and hanging out.
We'll get another training session and maybe some posing and stuff too. So yeah, man, looking forward to it. Well, just keep enjoying your off season, bro, and keep pushing and working hard. So I'm looking forward to seeing the progress.
Thank you. And it was good to catch up with you.
All right, man. We'll talk later.
All right. See ya.
All right. Take it easy.
You too.